incorrect or otherwise stupid, so do let me know if you know the tool better and you disagree with anything I say. I'm by no means an expert. Is there a full screen on here? Does anybody know?
Control cell.
Is this allowed?
Then it's
Supposed to have demos here?
Slideshow? Or what do you want?
Is this okay? Is it hard to see?
Feet to it
I'm only going to look at the pictures. Okay. Right. So we set the timer. Marcus's tool Edapt is now been accepted into EMF. I think it's graduated. I think it's a project now, part of EMFT. And really the domain is model migration. So you have this situation at the top of the slide here where you have a meta model that changes, and then you can use this tool to specify how models should be updated. But in the process of building this tool, Marcus has developed this kind of internal DSL, which is written in Java, which is used for model transformation. So he's entered the HelloWorld case with this kind of internal DSL, this Java DSL. So let's see if we can find some examples of this. So maybe I'll come back to that in a minute if there's time. Let's look at the code. I think that's the most interesting. Oh, so this isn't really readable, is it? Let's exit this and zoom in here. Is this better?
Yes.
Is it a bit better? No. Okay. There are a couple of kind of things that Marcus had to do to adapt the tool to work for this more general case, the model migration. Maybe I'll talk about that in a minute. But this is the constant transformation. So you can see he's using this slightly strange syntax where he wants to create an instance of the greeting class. So he's passed it as a string to this new instance method. And then he wants to set the text attribute of the greeting to the value hello world. And then he just adds this to the resource that contains this object. So it uses this kind of reflexive API, which is really nice for model migration because you don't know that the meta model is not fixed, right? So if this meta model evolved and this wasn't called text anymore, if you'd done something like greeting.setText, that wouldn't work for this other meta model. So this is why Edapt has this slightly strange reflexive syntax. So that's something to note about the tool. So let's have a look at this is how you create the 3 object version. So you can see he's creating 3 instances, a greeting, a message, a person, just the same as the last one. Model to text transformation, let's come over on the page. You know, it's probably as you would expect. He's using Java to do the string concatenation. So the nice thing about Edapt is that you have all the power of Java, any Java API that you want to access is here. And then he's written this custom save result operation, which I'll talk about later. That's in the abstract part. Okay, so this is where it gets slightly more interesting. This is getting all of the reachable nodes. Move the cursor out of the way. So here he's able to get one of the nice things about Edapt is it's got this get inverse operation built right in. So if your reference is unidirectional, you don't need to worry about that. You can just pass the opposite of the reference that you want, and Edapt will do the navigation in the inverse direction for you. So that's quite nice. That's all I wanted to say about that. Counting the number of nodes is not so interesting. It's probably as you'd expect. There's this get all instances method that you can call on a model and pass the name of the class, and you can get the collection size. So yeah, a similar solution for counting looping edges. So here, there's no comprehension operation, no higher order operation, so the predicate's checked inside an if statement. And like the, this is the one I want to show. Yeah, much like the epsilon solution that I was just talking about in EOL, because Marcus is using Java, he needs this quite imperative structure. In fact, this is extremely similar to the epsilon solution looking at it now. Slightly neater, not quite as open, no continuous statements. But yeah, it's this same problem that I discussed in the previous case. And I have some error message in German. Okay. I presume I've got a couple of minutes left. Maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So this is the migration case. This is where Edapt is really well suited to this problem. So here he's able to get the existing source and target references and just update them in the edges. So this is just reversing. So the source becomes the target becomes the source. It's quite nice. And this is the result. Okay. Deleting over the name, that's not so interesting. Maybe it's worth looking at a more imperative solution to the transitive edges, because I didn't have time for that with the epsilon solution. It's similar, they're both similar again. So again, you need these control structures to do this. It's imperative code. This is the point. Is there anything else about this that I wanted to say? No, apart from that, he's able to reuse the operations from before. So you notice here he's got the get reachable calls.
I think we have to come to that one second.
Great. Okay. Yeah. So I can't really comment on the reviews for this because I don't really know what the rebuttal would be. I actually reviewed this. So one of the things I noted was this reflexive syntax and asked Marcus to comment on this. And he said that there's good and bad. It's very well suited to migration. But one of the bad points is actually that the refactoring tools in Java don't pick this up. So if you generated your code and renamed one of the meta model classes, you'd have to go in and change the strings by hand. Whereas if you used a different, a more direct API, the refactoring tools would do this for you. If there's anything if somebody else reviewed this and there's anything they want to ask, I can try to answer, but it might not be the truth.
Mola can already set up
Sure, one remark. I think this appears more than using Java with some additional classes than any transformation tooling.
Sure, yeah, sure. So it's it's kind of like most of the transformation logic happens for the migration. So again, you don't have to specify parts that haven't changed. The tool does the automatic transformation. The really core transformation elements of this tool haven't come across because migration was a small subset, and also I've read the PDF, I've used the tool a little, but I don't know it perfectly well. But I'm sure Marcus would be happy to answer over email. He's very.
And it was complete, right?
Yeah.
One more question, how complete was this solution? So
Sorry?
we cannot judge how complete each solution was from the presentation. So was this a complete solution?
Yeah, everything was tackled. So maybe at the end, when everyone's finished their presentations, we'll just go over that again and make sure that we have a consistent scoring agreement for this. Of course, we'll be using the online judging in future, and it will be awesome, so we don't have to worry about that.